Mabuhay! I'm Allison, and today I'm going to share my insightful experiences about making a difference one trip at a time and in time of COVID-19 pandemic on how you can make a difference one post at a time. We're going to discuss about digital leadership in the tourism sector. So I'm going to present and share to you my stories. Let's begin. So this is my story on how I'm making a difference one trip at a time. I have my personal blog, Soul Searching Soul. It all started because I love traveling, even prior the time that I became an accredited regional tourist guide. So overall, what I can say, and based on what I've experienced, we are in the transformation economy. Yes, we can say that tourism is all about experiences, but once it's over, and now in the time of COVID-19 pandemic, we can observe that we're actually in the transformation economy. Those who are doing traditional stuff are starting to embrace digital, the different sectors that we have, like in the tourism sector, we have the tourist guides now because they have been displaced. They're now becoming storytellers online. So again, this is also about our transformation. Now, overall, in my personal journey, it all started, my transformation journey started first. I'm only a traveler. I love traveling. I was even a backpacker, and then I started to travel with groups. I started to travel with friends. But aside from being a traveler, I became a volunteerist. I love going to different communities, observing, and also lending a hand. Now, in this kind of journey, I also went through my own personal transformation because sometime in my mid 20s, I went through my quarter life crisis. And that's the time that I started to ask what industry I'd like to serve, what's my real purpose in life, and how can I pursue my passion. That's how I started with my personal blog, Soul Searching Soul. So this platform is my diary, my travel journeys, and also a way for me to focus on my advocacy, which is making a difference one trip at a time. I also transformed this platform, Soul Searching Soul, as a way for me to highlight my advocacy, especially when it comes to supporting different campaigns about responsible tourism or sustainable tourism. So in 2017, that's the first time that I get familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. I have been like 2 years late. Okay, imagine that because SDG 2030 has been introduced in 2015, yet I only found out about it in 2017. And starting there, I asked myself, what are the gaps that I can fill in, and how can I contribute in my personal endeavors, in my professional network? How can I contribute in making sure that the community knows about sustainable development goals? So basically, what I can also share to you is when you're going through your transformation, be it with your personal and also professional field, you have to look at the different gaps, okay? You're no longer just a communicator, a tourist, but you're also becoming someone else. And this is based on how you're looking at different things. Now, in this particular scenario, I would like to share to you about what we call wide lens strategy for innovation. Basically, wide lens strategy for innovation is all about looking at wider perspective. If before you have laser focus on one subject, one industry, now you have to look at what's happening around you. You're widening your perspective. You're looking at different industries, different roles and responsibilities so that you specifically know how to spot the gaps and what can you do to contribute in that area. Okay, so this is why I also introduced YCC, Share Responsibly. That's a grassroots movement wherein I encourages the local communities more specifically the young people, the youth in each communities to become responsible young content creators. And hopefully, by telling them about sustainable development goals, teaching them some digital skills, they'll be able to become and transform as young community champions. So this is why I started to introduce digital leadership, especially in the time of COVID-19 pandemic. I noticed that there are some communities, some stakeholders in the tourism value chain that are not yet fluent with the digital, and also they're not yet embracing the digital technology. So hashtag digital leadership. It talks about why we need to embrace the internet, why we need to start becoming some acquiring skills that we need. Like for example, as of the digital landscape that we have in July 2020, can you imagine that worldwide the average time that we spend on the internet or an individual spent on the internet is 6 hours 42 minutes. And out of the 7 billion plus population that we have in the planet Earth, about 57% is already using the internet. That's why we really need to embrace this digital leadership. And when I talk about digital leadership, I'm also not just talking about the use of social media, but it actually starts with our mindset. Why you need to start embracing technology and internet. Next slide. So overall, most of the time, we talk about different types of generations. We talk about millennials, millennials, baby boomers, but for me, regardless of age, we are all part of what I call M generation. And M generation talks about mobile generation. Look at your grandparents, look at your schoolmates, your teachers, and even your siblings or your cousins. We are all using mobile phones, especially in this time of COVID-19 pandemic. So if we are to describe who are part of the M generation, we are the people who are highly connected. We're always on the go. We always have our mobile phone with us, okay? So it's always me and my mobile, okay? So that's how we basically describe M generation. It's all about our mobile phone. So when we also talk about digital leadership, it's not just the action that we do on social media, such as like me, listen to me, hire me, watch me, find me. Again, it's not just about our vanity, okay? But by using different platforms, we're knowing more about ourselves. We're also knowing how we can leverage these technologies, these platforms, the social media accounts that we have in order to pursue our passion and also to fulfill what we can do as part of our mission and purpose. Okay? So, as you can see, right, what happened in 2020, everybody is being transformed. And there's also scarcity. Scarcity in travel, we're limited in terms of movement, but dig deep and look beyond that scarcity. What we can find is actually our resourcefulness and creativity. For example, for many tourist guides who are displaced, you start to look at different industries. Okay, you're no longer just about telling stories to your tourists, but now some of you are already transforming yourselves as YouTubers, vloggers, storytellers, or even trainers. So overall, this scarcity that we're experiencing at the moment is somehow fueling us to transform ourselves. We are able to look at our resourcefulness and creativity so that we can explore more and be relevant in time of COVID-19 pandemic. I firmly believe that as we embrace digital technology and the internet, it is our duty, okay, as a person and also as a professional in this industry to create awareness. Because overall, in my experience as a marketing professional, It's always awareness, okay? It boils down to awareness as the key to action. That's why I specifically came up with this principle in digital leadership that awareness accelerates action. Yes, tourists might not be traveling at the moment. There's limited movement, but we shouldn't stop communicating with them. We shouldn't stop promoting our destinations, our heritage, our culture. And how we can do that? By embracing digital leadership. So it is your personal responsibility to use your social media platforms to communicate and continuously raise awareness about your own services, communities, and overall what you can offer in the tourism sector. Okay, you can also find their CI. And what does CI means? It's all about communicational intelligence, connectional intelligence. Okay, because I noticed that whenever we talk about digital, whenever we talk about technologies, the first thing that would come to my mind is AI, artificial intelligence, or machine learning. But if you've traveled to rural areas, this kind of technologies might not be relevant to them at the moment. But when you talk about to them connectional intelligence on how they can use their emotional intelligence to connect to different people, to constantly communicate, then they would better understand it. So again, it boils down to our responsibility to continuously raise awareness. And hopefully that awareness can create the action that we desire. And that's basically the principle that I adopted when I started to share about hashtag YCC Share Responsibly. So this is my effort in how I'm making a difference one trip at a time. Every time I go to different communities, I pull different stakeholders. I encourage the local government, the civic society, the different organizations in the community, and even the students, okay, to really be aware what is tourism for SDGs, what we can do about it, and how we can raise awareness about it. So YCC Share Responsibly, it's encouraging young people to become young content creators through their social media posts, be it on Twitter, Instagram, and more specifically, whenever they are venturing into blogs or YouTube channels. So YCC Share Responsibly, it's a multi-partnership, okay? I encourage the government to support this kind of movement the same way that the private sector would also fund. So for me, it's all about having these ideas and encouraging more people for one specific purpose or mission, okay? As we embrace digital technology, I hope you will be able to become the brand ambassadors or the advocates. So right now, we're officially wrapping up the celebration of Be Tourist Community Festival. You might want to share the different Facebook posts that they have, and more specifically, the different videos that they produce for the Be Tourist Community Festival. So please also follow that hashtag, okay, so that you'll be in the know. Again, it's all about raising awareness and also sharing these different types of content that enhances our knowledge about different cultures, different destinations, and how we can have a purposeful sensory journey. Whenever we talk about raising awareness, my key point is this: you have to win the hearts of people who love to share, okay? People who loves to share. And if we will embrace the advertising concept of WOM, word of mouth, as the most powerful type of promotion. Therefore, we can easily embrace the new version of WOM, which is word of mobile. You like something, post about it, and make sure you do it responsibly. Follow the hashtags, hashtag YCC Share Responsibly, hashtag Purposeful Sensory Journey, and if you are now more curious about sustainable development goals, maybe you can also follow the hashtag Tourism for SDGs. You're doing something, for example, you started now to embrace no to single use plastic, then it is your hashtag act for SDGs. So overall, a simple use of hashtag is actually part of transforming word of mouth to word of mobile. Okay? Whenever you post, think of that. How your specific post on social media can influence or at least become that seed of influence to your family, to your friends, or to your netizens, to your online community. Again, overall, in based on the data that's available in 2020, as of July 2020, the daily time spent on social media around the world on average is about 2 hours and 22 minutes. Imagine that. How you can take part in raising awareness about sustainable development goals, especially when you are online. Okay? So hopefully you'll think about that and you'll be part of this campaign and raising awareness because now you have this sustainable development goals in your heart. Overall, we want you to communicate with impact. And how you communicate with impact? Simple. Be authentic. Okay? Don't just post something because you know it's what people will like or will click. But make sure that it's something that will create the positive vibes, and also influence them to take action. For me, communicating with impact, it also means being vulnerable. It's okay if you get to share who you are personally, but as long as you remain authentic to yourself. Okay, communicate with impact through stories, powerful stories about your community, what you've been doing, and how you can encourage others to do the same in their community. So communicate with impact. You don't just use your mind, but also use your heart. It's a mix of rational and also emotion. Okay, that's how you communicate with impact. So why we need to embrace digital leadership, especially in 2020? Because we want you to stand out, we want you to scale up, and we want you to sustain your passion, your advocacy. And if you're in the business industry, hopefully you'll be able to utilize the internet as the great equalizer. Okay, so embrace digital leadership, embrace technology for you to be able to stand out. For my fellow tourist guide, how you can do that? Start sharing your stories online. Start using different platforms to constantly communicate and raise awareness and convert this awareness to some interesting discussions. Okay, that's what we're doing in terms of this Be Tourist Community Festival. We started to release different videos based on what we've experienced before, and hopefully this kind of materials will be able to trigger you to create that conversation among you and hopefully with us. Now, think of this post. In digital leadership, think of one platform where you will post your different status, your stories, and prioritize first. In my case, I have my Facebook, my YouTube, my own blog, but I realized that instead of spreading myself too thin, I'd focus first on one platform. That's why I started to draft my stories and start reliving my own blog platform. Yes, even though I'm somehow on my digital detox on social media, I'm still creating content now for my blog, and hopefully in next time I'll be able to contribute in Southeast Asia Heritage on my different experiences, and hopefully you can do the same. Now when you are now specific with what platform you're going to use, optimize it. Okay, are you going to use a video? What kind of video are you going to use? Is it going to be a snackable content? And once you think of all this, please sustain it. I am also guilty of this in sustaining my materials. There are times that I just think, okay, I'm going to publish today, but how about tomorrow? That's why we also have this cross-country collaboration so that we can sustain our content, that it will not just be for one time or 2 weeks, but it can be something that we can schedule and sustain for a long time. And we are tracking all this. We are tracking the performance, the comments, and whenever there's feedback, we're really appreciating it because we know in which area we can improve. When you're telling your stories, your messages, I hope you think of these two circles. The first circle is, what do you want to say? What I want to say. Is it something relevant for you? So now you have to also look at the second circle, which is, what are the messages or the topics that they're interested in? And then when you mix these two circles, you find the relevance. And when the story is relevant, you can make sure that people will stay informed, entertained, and they'll be the ones sharing these stories to different people. Now, overall, I'd like you to think of this. It doesn't matter wherever you are in this world, in this some of you might be in the city, some of you might be in rural areas, but as long as you have technology, use it for social good. Use your internet connection as an equalizer. I'm from my own kampong. I'm from a rural area. Okay, I'm from the province, but then I get to use this platform together with NBS channel, together with B Tourist Community Festival, with Southeast Asia Heritage. We use our different platforms to empower ourselves and to empower our community in telling our stories. So overall, we use our technology for social good and communicating with you wherever you are. Now, as you think of your stories, I also want you to reflect on this. What do you really care about? Because when COVID-19 pandemic hit me, it made me really reflect. What are the topics that I'd really care about? And it became more clear to me that I care about sustainable development goals. That's why whenever possible, I tell people what is sustainable development goals. I incorporate it in my different blog posts. So think about it. What do you really care about in this industry? As a traveler, what do you care about? As a tourist or as a tour operator? So what do you really care about? Now, that's something that will help you streamline what kind of topic you will be sharing online. And overall, think of your digital platforms as your museum, okay? It's it's something that documents your journey. So think of this question as well. How would you like to be remembered? Because with every post that you share online, it's something that people might use to judge you, to remember you, and also it's part of your memory. Okay, so how would you like to be remembered using your different platforms? In my case, this is how I would like to be remembered. I'd like to be remembered because of my smile, because I share my stories and I act for SDGs, okay? I have my marketing mindset and I use this marketing mindset to share the growth, okay? Not only for me and my community, but also to the different partners that I have. I interact and hopefully through this interaction, I inspire you, the viewers and the B Tourist community, those who are part of this B Tourist Community Festival. I hope by watching these videos and exchanging stories, our life lessons, we get to love lifelong learning. And we use this learning to empower ourselves and our community. So this is how I'm looking at it. And aside from that, okay, aside from my smile, I also like people to always remember this love, this passion for tourism. And this passion for tourism leads us to sustainable tourism. So now I'm encouraging you to make your mark in this world. Stay connected, use your digital platforms, stay connected with B Tourist Community Festival, review all the videos, stay interactive, comment below, let us know what you think, what are the topics that you'd like to learn more so that we can all make a mark in this world. Follow me, follow us in this journey, and let's all make a mark in this world, making a difference one trip at a time, experiencing purposeful sensory journey, and of course, getting connected with the different members, different stakeholders of the Be Tourist Community Festival 2020. So now I'm very excited to have the second portion of this session with two of my friends from Southeast Asia. So we're going to be joined by Irina from Malaysia, and Rehan from Indonesia.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Apple.
Hello, Apple.
Hi, mabuhay, mabuhay. How are you, Rehan?
Oh, I'm good.
I'm good.
I notice now that you have a better internet connection compared the last time. Are you in the city?
Yeah. I'm in the
Yeah,
city.
I'm in the city.
Today I'm using
Today I'm
different
using different
internet service
internet
provider,
service
so I think
provider. So
that's
I think
different
that's
from our
different from
last
our last
conversation. Today
conversation.
it's better.
Yes, that's a lot better. And of course, Irina is with us. Thank you, Irina, for joining us.
Yeah, nice to meet all of you again. Yeah, I think the last meeting we had, it was like 3 of us together. It was like some time ago, almost like two
Yeah.
months ago, I think. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the
almost
last
2 months
meeting we
ago.
had. Yeah. Okay, I think I really enjoy your presentation, like just now what you have sharing with us, Apple. But I think we and Rehan actually, after I think these few months, I think it's a lot of changes. I think in Indonesia, in Malaysia, so I think in Philippines. So I think basically the whole Southeast Asia now, everyone is being told, right? I think the whole world being told digital, 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 digital. Okay, and I think the virtual now is coming as a hot topic, right?
Yeah.
Virtual, especially we are all in this tourism industry. Everybody was like so lost by complying the new norma or going to the better norma. I think physically tour is not easy to conduct anymore. So I think virtual now. In Indonesia, I was like months ago, I already started to hear like Indonesian, especially the tourism industry, everybody wants to go virtual. So I don't know until today, I'm not sure yet. I'm actually still like 50-50, that I'm not
Mhm.
sure, like, because I've been in digital, but the word virtual, it's the concern now. So what do we mean by the best, or don't say the word best, okay? What is the, at least the nice virtual tour, or how do we actually explain from the word virtual? I would like to discuss this with two of you actually today.
Actually, that's a very interesting topic. Okay, so just to better clarification for our viewers right now, all of us, the three of us, the common denominator is we are all tourist guides. Okay, and that's the profession that's been hardly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So
Yes.
now I see many people are going into virtual tours. That's why our topic now is all about virtual in tourism. Now, I'm first going to ask also Rehan.
Sure.
Rehan, what does virtual tour means for you? Or what's your expectation? Because this is just a friendly discussion among
Yeah.
us.
So, I think I put it this way. I think like Irina, I've been very skeptical about these virtual things, so-called virtual in the tourism, because I put it myself as a tourist. Okay, so I put aside my occupation as a tourist guide, but I put myself also as a tourist. So and actually, I think for all the people in around the world, they feel the same. Now, we've been locked almost more than half year. I think
Yeah.
you are. We've
Since
been
March.
in
8
my
months.
city,
Eight
Jakarta, in
months.
Indonesia. Yes, now we still can go out. The shopping mall still open, but now the condition it's totally different from the before the January. Everything is totally different, and I think we agree. However, the city, I mean, for those who live in the city, we can entertain ourselves, so-called entertain. Maybe we can buy food. No cinema also here. No cinema open. And but we are getting bored. So again, when I said I put myself as a tourist, I need something real. So when it comes to word tourism, let's say I want to traveling, I want to be to be real, because virtual means before the pandemic also I browse destination, I browse about food, about anything activities. It's through the internet. So basically, I'm trying to understand now, when people say virtual, so what is the value, or what can I get exactly from the virtual? So we not just trapped into the word virtual. Oh, we can do virtual, but at the end, I feel like I deny to myself, oh, virtual, but I don't have any value. I don't have any enjoyment on this virtual as when we do the traveling, or we doing the tour, the real one, the hands-on. And I mean, we going somewhere, we doing something in every destinations. So again, I've been very skeptical about this word of virtual. Mm, then I keep thinking, and also I still have question in my mind until now. So how it's the virtual should be conducted,
Mm.
in terms of the tourism, or uh, let's say, now I'm a tourist guide, so we keep thinking, when we conduct the tour, what value we can deliver to our guests, to our customers. Now I put myself as a tourist, as a customer. Now I'm very thirsty to how can I fulfill my thirsty of traveling throughout the virtual things. That's my, how to say, that's my, I keep digging in my mind,
That's
how
something.
yeah, I keep searching actually. Yes, in Indonesia, maybe I believe in other part of Southeast Asia also, maybe we have the similar, uh, not knowledge, similar activities that we think, oh, we can make use of the technology, we can make use of the internet, then we using the virtual. But my fellow tourist guide also in Indonesia, we do the same. They conduct in many ways of the virtual, but yeah, still it's only, maybe in terms of the enjoyment, it's only giving information, then not, I don't have the, I don't have the click, when
I like your reaction when you say that.
Hmm,
Because actually, based from what you mentioned, Rayhan, right? For
hmm,
me, on your sharing, we need to highlight first. You've mentioned it's only raising awareness. It's all about information,
hmm,
giving
hmm.
information. And the moment that you say that, okay, that kind of reaction and emoji, actually it talks about the lack of multi-sensory experiences.
Yeah, correct,
Because
correct.
in virtual, based on what you've shared, it boils down to two senses.
Hmm.
This, right?
And
Yeah.
This
yes,
the sense of light and also the audio. So basically, you're just fulfilling this too. That's why you, if you're placing yourself as a tourist, you lack all the sensory. And the most important sense of all, the way we experience it in Southeast Asia, is that sense of taste, the sense of touch, right? And
Yeah,
of course,
correct.
yeah,
community. So that's something that I can agree with you on that. Yeah, there's still a lot of improvements. Yes, digital can be very useful, but it also lacks some certain crucial elements that makes tourism experience a different aspect
yeah. Because
compared to all
before,
other.
we keep using the technology to teasing the tourists. So now we are trapped in the teasing moment, just tease, tease, tease. Then we never fulfill the need of traveling. That's what I think it's disturbing me, to think how we can deliver something in virtual. Yeah.
So now
So
I have a question for Irina. Okay, yeah. How about the Irina? What's your say about this virtual in tourism, or can you also relate in terms of how you're using digital technologies, the internet, in creating opportunities, and what's the downside of it as well?
Okay, from my side is actually I'm quite against virtual tour. The reason because of I at first, if you see my months ago my statement, I always like, virtual tour to me is not going to work well, because virtual tour to me is like what Rehan say, you still need the five senses, so the two is not enough, right? But I agree, like digital marketing, I agree, because now, yes, we are closing the border, but we need to give our best information out, to reach out, to reach out the maximum that we could. So I do not know when the border will be open, but at least when the border is open, we already have the chance and we already have the opportunity, because people already know where are you, what you are doing, how you're going to do, and what sort of experience that you're going to give. So that's why I told my team, including our members, our executive board members in Southeast Asia also, I say, you don't just give up like this now. Okay, I know it's going to be tough, but this is where you should be reorganizing, like what you're just sharing in your presentation, all your thoughts, put your best out of it. And right now, what I can do over here is, from the past few years, we have accumulated some footage. At least now we cannot go out for shooting. I can't travel here and there to shooting, but we can use the footage we have, which we have so many footage. We didn't release it out. We didn't share it out. So how are we going to tell people that what do we have? See? So I think most people have not understand compounding information.
Yeah, sharing information is very important.
Yes, sharing information, but the presentation of the information, not just by talking. So I was like discuss among us, we were talking about, like, if you talk about virtual to me now, is we have to make like a movie. And I have a challenge. If we're going to make like a movie, because you see, when you watch the movie, you will like, wow, follow the storyline. Wow, you can keep continue like an hour and then without your eyes gone. But do you know how much of the investment that you invested in? And you need like a long preparation. It's not easy. So I remember I started about in 2012, 2013, when I realizing that digital is going to play a very important role, digital marketing. So I need to put more on virtual. I start to engage people to write script
Yes.
about my trail. And then I start to hiring cameramen and all this, and I even hiring, some model, to come and do just like a 10 minutes short movie. 10-minute short movie. And you know what I receiving? That is also another challenge, because I'm not coming in as a production house, right? So people don't see me, don't see us, or don't see like the whole thing is, they see like, oh, 10 minutes is too long. I don't have the patience. Why should I pay attention on your short story? So it bounce me back again. It's like, okay, maybe it doesn't work, because we haven't reached that stage yet. Yeah,
That's something, Irina, that's something that I'd like to also highlight based from what you've shared. Because I realized that when it comes to technology, okay, not all the time it's something that will be easily embraced by the community or by the sector where we belong. Sometimes a pandemic needs to happen in order for them to understand why we're doing this for the past years, why we started to embrace technology. Like Irina have mentioned about short story. There's one particular short story before that I've watched under your channel, which I really love. It's about the Crab Island in Malaysia. So maybe we can re-upload that in this time as a closing movie of the Be Tourist Community Festival, and then people will now appreciate like, oh my God, so this is where they put the investment in getting a camera, getting a script writer. But you are correct in saying, Irina, that it entails a lot of investment and it entails a lot of different stakeholders doing a short movie, a short virtual tour.
Yeah. So that's why I've been like encouraging all now is like it's not about like you just go to the site, okay, and just capture your life means you are doing a virtual tour, because first of all you have to be famous, right? Why should I following you? You know, okay, why should I pay attention to you? And especially digital now is getting cost. You know why? Because it's not like everybody is suffering from getting a data. So to see a
Mm,
good virtual, you need a lot of data as well. So if I don't have a economical internet fees that I should pay off, then I'm going to be very specific and selective also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
So to me, it's like, so in Malaysia now we have a group of new experiences. They have like a few tourist guide. They collaborate with another organization. They come up like a virtual tour, and then they actually like want to start to charging the money and so on. You know, I think the initiative is great. The initiative is great. Yeah, but again, we don't even know what is in the contents by looking at the destination. Just like, you know, I'm sharing my village story. So what's so great about your village story? What's so great about Apple? Why should I look at your village story? You get what I mean? So this kind of marketing, advertising, just like you want to watch a movie, you know how much they just spend on the trailer, right? Before the
Yeah.
actual movie want to be. And don't forget, in the end you pay the money. It's not just paying for that whole process, the whole production, but you thinking you will pay because you go to the cinema. Right? You thinking you
Where
go to
I'm
the
also
cinema.
interested. Okay, this is where I'm also interested. We know that it's going to be costly. We know that it entails different manpower and it entails hard labor. Okay, aside from smart work. Now, what is your say, Rayhan and Irina? What is your say when people think that, oh, you know, we with technology everybody can do it. Why can't you just start doing it?
Oh,
Because the government are pushing for us to do it, to adapt to
Mm.
digital technologies. What is your say on this? Maybe
no,
you
okay.
can you
So can I start first? But when you say the government say, okay, you guys can just go and do it, but okay, do it as what? Who's going to marketing it? Who's going to marketing it? Doing it is one, but marketing, as a business owner for almost 10 years, you know, running this kind of heritage tourism businesses, I've been trying all kinds of way. Do you know how much already spent? And it doesn't assuring and guarantee you means you are successful, or because of you being graded as the viewer, or you being graded as what, how you get all this rated come from? Seriously, those days I had the guideline is the more customer I receiving it, I know that okay means it's acceptable for my tour experience. Yeah, I can evaluate on the business profit and loss. But currently, how should I evaluate? I have no idea. So I do all those footage out, but just by viewing, because viewing I didn't pay for marketing, or just because of not interested with, or the market wasn't ready yet, or my target group is wrong, or what. So these are the thing is actually makes me a little bit on like how to say, these few months I've been keep thinking, you know. So ended up I encourage, you know, I encourage. That's why I Apple, you know, we started with the ask Sia anything, right? Right? We start ASEAN anything. The reason why we start the ASEAN anything is because of we do not know actually what sort of feedback, you know, what sort of requirement, how people will reacting it, and what about ourselves, our contents, what sort of contents that we should be accumulated and presented it, you know, into the everybody accepting. And also we have a problem, like you just mentioned, not everyone facing the camera they can act naturally, you know, they can speak fluently, you know. So it's like you not only talk about guiding now, you talk about acting. Can you act?
or can you act? Rayhan, that's your question. Can you act, Rayhan?
Yeah, I must do.
You must have like put your facial emotion, your expression, you know, your body language.
For Irina, the way I understand it, for Irina, you're now at the period of experimentation. Everything for you in digital is just experimentation, correct? Be it with your business, be as a professional. You're using these digital platforms to experiment, to basically check who will be my next new target market. Now, for a professional tourist guide like Rayhan, how are you trying to embrace? Because we already know from your sharing that you're somehow hesitant in doing virtual tours.
Yeah.
Okay, that's already given. But I'm also curious now, how are you trying to embrace digital technology to enhance yourself? Because we don't know how long this pandemic will be.
True.
In my previous talk, I talked about transformation. We're no longer just confined in one role or one job title. Sometimes you need to acquire new skill so that you will be relevant, or else you might not be a tourist guide in the next 3 years. We don't know, right? So I'm curious, how are you trying to embrace digital technologies, the internet, and what are you going to do about it?
Okay. So when you say embrace the tech, I can points, but when you say the government asks the first, I think the country Indonesia, even the government insight or vision, how is the virtual can encounter the or how we we doing something towards what I understand here knows where we are going. Pandemic. When after the pandemic, we can open, but just resume back before the pandemic. So now doing virtual now you analyze the side or the economy tourism if in the physical thing or how we using the technology for the back. So I point one is conclusion, but still confused, because I cannot make cannot calculate what value or how it the business how it will using this method of virtual toko or making some other. That's why when Irina said it's I agree because it's proven but even now in the time we miss the going to cinema even if like Disney they launch in the app. So I still agree. It would be there is the market our. But again, how we calculate and not there is a impact happen. That's question that I still confused how we make use the technology of course, but how we have the economic value or as a business sustain.
I think that's understandable. For me, I'd like to also reiterate this for everybody who's watching our video. it's understandable that we are still in the period of confusion. We're still in the period of adaptation because this is a rapid adaptation. Okay, it's not something that, hey, I've been planning to do this. Imagine we have different plans for 2020, but then suddenly you have to scrap everything, and then suddenly you have to know how to use this kind of platform, where to record, where to look at. So again, we respect the confusion, we respect the different journey that we're going through. Okay, so, I understand that.
Is
Is
at the moment I
at the
only
moment
can
I only can think
because
because
about our censure.
about our censure
So through the
through the virtual
vision and the
hearing
hearing to the
to the it,
but
but
in terms
in terms in order to have feel center
the tour
the tour it,
so
so
either we have to
either
wait
we have to wait
or
or
we can do now,
now but
we have to
to
change
change
Yeah.
Apple thing, following the but embracing the
embracing the technology to
make sure
make sure
we are
we are here. So
people are aware
people are aware, get
awareness.
awareness.
That's why if
That's why if you
count
count
how
with
long with
how long will the thing will
here
here
we back
and
with
we
the
back with the how is the
view of the
view of the for the business.
that's other thing.
That's other things.
I think we just need to pivot. Of course, we started this discussion with the word virtual. Overall, from your sharing, Rehan, and from your experiences, Irina, for me, instead of using the virtual, I would recommend using augmented, because that changes the way we look at things. And when I say augmented tour, okay, we're still using the virtual gadgets, but I
Right.
think it would be best that, for example, if Rehan will be sharing about wonderful Indonesia, right? You send me a package with wonderful kit. It can be so that there'll be multi-sensory still. So that's why it's augmented. Yes, you're going to discuss about you're going to discuss about the food, but at the same time, now we're looking at our package, something that we received in our house. That, oh, okay, so this is what Rehan is talking about. When Irina is going to talk about traditional trade arts and craft, or like the wow, the traditional kite. Now I have all this. Yeah, I have all these strings of wire and bamboo. Like, what is this for? Now Irina is telling us step 1, right? So basically, we're no longer just a tourist guide out in the field, but we're transforming ourselves as craftsman, as teacher, as YouTuber. Do you agree? Like, you really have to transform yourself.
Yeah.
Like this whole pandemic, I put an experiment for my own self. Is this end of May until now? What I did was 100 days of exercise.
Oh, wow.
So I record it every day. Yeah, I record it every day. And now I need to learn edit and put onto the YouTube.
So you're no longer just a business owner, a tourist guide, but now you're transforming yourself as a fitness inspiration and also an editor. So that's something that, that parts of your transformation.
And now I also started with my live Instagram.
Wow.
to capture the younger generation on another segment market. And together, with one of my big fans, that she wanted to see how the result every 25 days, what will be happen. Okay, let's do it. So it's virtual too.
Yeah. Correct.
Because we
Now
all
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious because Irina started using Instagram, YouTube. How about you, Rayhan? What platform do you prefer to use? Have you started doing ten and TikTok dancing?
TikTok.
I just saw many TikTok, but I haven't really downloaded TikTok. I mean, for me, I have so many platforms already, and actually, I'm already on digital detox. How about you, Rayhan? What are you doing?
Yeah. Personally,
Personally,
I
I don't.
I still using my
I still using my exit
social media
social
platform
media platform
as
as Instagram,
Facebook.
Facebook.
Nothing new.
Nothing new on and
Nothing new
nothing
because
new because
if I'm talking about
if
me
I'm talking
personally,
about me personally,
I'm not really
I'm not really kind of
the,
person that
the social
the
media.
social
So
media.
Oh,
this kind of
This kind
nothing
of nothing
changed pretty much for
changed
me.
pretty much for
But
me. But
following this kind of
following
habit,
this kind of habit,
uh,
uh,
some of
some
things
of
now
things
you
now
must
you must
join the
join the
so it changed the
it
way
change the way
you bring yourself.
you bring
You know,
yourself. You know,
attend you
tend
attend
to
some
attend some
things, even
things,
the poor,
even the poor
totally different
totally
things.
different
Like,
things.
like
But
now we are
like now we are
uh,
uh,
correct.
correct.
So for me,
So for me,
it's a quite a
it's a
changes.
quite a
Because
changes.
I'm not
we're
I'm not
still
of
of
online
online
or
we're
or
adapting to changes. Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
correct.
So to wrap this conversation, this dialogue that we're having, I'd like to get your closing statement and also your final thoughts on how we can use technology for social good and apply it in tourism. Yes, this is not we're not talking about replacing our old profession, okay?
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of adapting and utilizing the internet for social good. So what is your thoughts on that and your message to our Be Tourist Community Festival
Okay.
viewers and
Okay.
participants?
Okay. Maybe I will
Maybe I will
comment on it
comment
on
on
the
it on the
initial point.
initial point.
So
So
instead of we know how hard
how hard
the pandemic
the pandemic
impact make impact
make
of
impact of
but the good impact
but the good impact
in terms of
in
technology
terms of
is
technology is
uh,
everything
being forced
being
to use the
forced
tech
to use the tech
and
and
I can
I can
my myself here
myself here
that
that
before we
for
have
we have
to do something
to do
online
something online,
and don't hesitate
don't
to do
hesitate to do
on but
on
now
but
what we
now
can
what can
force body
force body
and
and
I have witnessed
have
even
witnessed even
the old one
the old one
they they willing but
they
they been
willing but
forced
they been
by
fought
we
by we can
to use the technology
use the
and
technology
uh,
and
thanks to the
thanks
pandemic
to the
like
pandemic
corona
like for
now
now
I think we've been
it's been
uh,
uh,
motivating people to
motivating people to
online make
online
it
to make
yes
it
but only
yes,
happen
but only happen.
so my message
So my
there
message there
for those
for those
already
already
forced to
forced
understand
to
to use the tech
use the tech.
so
So
let's take a look
take a
back
look back
maybe 6 months
the
ago
6 months
one year
ago,
ago 2 years
1 year,
ago
2 years ago,
people already did this
already
before
did this before,
life more
life
efficient
more
for some
efficient for some, for some,
Yeah.
for some
for some.
That's a very good observation. Thank you for that, Rayhan. How about you, Irina?
I think
I
I
think
put a
I
statement
put a
last few
statement
days
last few days
from walking
from
into
walking
virtual.
into virtual.
So this
So
is
this
to
is to
remind everyone
remind everyone
life is so
life
short,
is
you
so
know. Of
short.
course, when you
Of
can
course, when
walk,
you can
it's great.
walk, is great.
But when you
But
can't, at
when
least
you
you still
can't,
have
at least
virtual.
you still have virtual.
So, you know, when the
So
good
you know
times,
when the good times,
let's
let's
appreciate
appreciate
every single moment.
Every single moment.
Just do whatever we
Yes.
can.
Just do whatever we can.
That's a very nice message. Appreciating whatever we can at every moment. That's why we're now in this virtual, okay? So overall, just to clarify, we're not saying that technology and virtual tours should replace your actual tour, okay?
No,
But
no.
now
No,
in the
no,
time of
no,
COVID-19 pandemic, we're just utilizing all these materials, all
Yes.
these gadgets
Yes.
and connection to continuously raise awareness about our destination, to continuously market what we can offer, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
what you can experience in Malaysia, in Indonesia, and hopefully this awareness will trigger you in your dreaming, in your planning, and hopefully when everybody's ready, the borders are open, the flights are already flying, right? The airplanes are already crossing borders. You can already visit and actually experience it. So overall, we're just utilizing the internet, the technology to do what we can at the moment.
Yeah.
Rayhan have
Yeah.
already raised a very good point earlier. If in the previous years, we already started to embrace technology, at this moment, we won't have any difficulty in terms of adjusting. So,
Yes.
main
Yes.
point, just like what Irina have been doing, experiment. Do not be afraid. Don't be afraid of bashers. Like, as I was preparing this presentation, I was also thinking like, oh my God, wait, did I prepare my English well? Did I prepare my presentation well? But at the end of the day, we in the Be Tourist Community Festival, we just want to stay
Yeah.
connected.
Yes.
We want to stay connected because we want you to know that we are still here, that when the pandemic is over, we can all travel, enjoy, respect, and have that purposeful sensory journey in
Very
Southeast
good. Yeah.
Asia. Okay? So hopefully that's something that really manages you. So in behalf of the whole Be Tourist Community Festival organizers, yes, thank you very much for being part of our October month and being actively participants in this Be Tourist Community Festival. Okay?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
And
Thank
this is
you.
not like
This
this
is
is
not
not
like-
like the
this is
last
not like the
episode
last
because there's
episode
more
because there's
coming
more
up
coming
in
up
November,
in
December, and keep going.
and keep going.
Yes. So we'll just stay connected and looking forward
Yeah.
for the different not really virtual tours, but let's just experiment, right? Let's just
Well,
continue whenever we can.
I want to suggest,
I want to suggest
put
put
a
a
proposal
proposal
to
to Rehan.
You should start
You
some
should
session
start some
on
session on
music.
music.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
just
you can
find
have
it.
it like music.
Good.
Hashtag
Good. Yeah.
Music Monday.
Music Monday.
So,
Music Monday.
Music Monday, you just go live every Monday, maybe on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform that you prefer. Okay? So just start doing it. And then
Or
we
hashtag
can
25 days music.
Friday music.
One challenge.
One
Another
challenge.
challenge. This is what I'm doing now.
What I'm doing now.
Yeah, looking forward
Okay.
to
Have a
that.
great
Okay.
Okay, have a great time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Terima kasih to our friends in Southeast Asia. Maraming salamat. Bye-bye.
Bye.